Good morning, good morning. Peace and blessings. It's your boy Jay Taylor, Voices for the Voiceless. And I'm back with another video. Man, last night, man, I was sitting back scrolling through YouTube again. It happened to come across the 5150 show with Corey Holcomb, you know. And as the title says, Corey Holcomb finally responds to Anton Daniels, and it was embarrassing and below the belt. And I'm gonna get into that, man. I'm gonna get into that because we gotta have this conversation, man. We definitely gotta have this conversation to have a real one because at our big ages, it's just a certain way we have to conduct ourselves. I mean, I'm not saying that we're not gonna have disagreements and arguments and we human beings at the end of the day, right? But as you already know, and I did a video on my initial reaction to the Corey Holcomb and Anton Daniels fiasco. Everybody on social media been blowing up about it since it happened. So after the initial blow up, now we know, as a quick recap, Anton Daniels went on the Corey Holcomb 5150 show like a week and a half ago, I would say. And they got into it, almost came to blows. And we was speaking on it on a framework of it was supposed to be a political debate. And I thought that this situation was a good example of a micro situation to basically explore more of a conversation that is happening between the Black community politically, between the conservative mindset, which would be Anton Daniels as a Black conservative, and the more liberal mindset would be Corey Holcomb, which I felt as though this is good, right? Because we all know Corey Holcomb is a comedian, stand-up comic, but he also a content creator with this 5150 club. He been around for years. I remember seeing Corey Holcomb on Comic View back in the 90s. So always been a fan of Corey Holcomb. He's funny as hell, right? But man, this situation got so messy when they got into it, and I don't want to go through everything, but we know what happened. And it got vulgar real quick, and it's too early in the morning to be saying what everybody know what was said about sucking this and kissing that and say it again and come outside. And like I said, we human beings, and as men, we have a lot of pride. And when you got an audience, you got pretty much the whole world watching you. Nobody want to look like a sucker. So I get that. Now, at the end of their interview, I would, for lack of better words, when Anton got up and left, it was a part, and this is what I'm going to focus in on this video. This part right here is what was said at the end of the video, which I thought was some supreme sucker-ish on Corey Holcomb's side. And I just got to call a spade a spade. When Anton got up and left, now Anton ain't perfect in this situation either, and I'm going to get to that. But when Anton got up and left, when Corey Holcomb got disrespectful again and was calling him all type of, derogatory names, and also said, and take that B with you. F that B too. I don't know that B. Woo woo. You know what I'm saying? So that to me in itself was super suckerish, right? Because this man situation, and not to say that Anton got nothing going on. I don't know, with the lady that he was with, that he was trying to get on a platform. But if she wasn't on camera, but like, who are you to put out that information? You don't know what this man got going on at home. It ain't even got to be nothing going on, but just for the simple fact that a man would try to disclose the fact that he's with a woman that he probably otherwise didn't. If he didn't announce that himself, that was just real, like, feminine energy right there. Like, you don't, that's just breaking man law. Like, you that mad that you gonna sit up here and try to possibly cause a rift in this man's household, you know, because you don't know what his situation is. I just would never do nothing like that, you know. But turns out the lady that he did that with was somebody that, you know, her name, she got a platform called Red Cup with Mika, you know, and that's kind of like Anton Daniels' protege, you know. They hang out a lot. They do podcasts together, and he was trying to get her on 5150, I guess, to expand her brand. But on a man level, that was just, you know, suffering succotash stuff. That was the supreme, I mean, sucker-ish that you could do. So that what that let me know about Corey Holcomb's character, you know, is that, yeah, when he mad, he'll go low, below the belt. That was embarrassing enough. And I tried to give him somewhat of the benefit of the doubt, but that was the most embarrassing for me on a man level that Corey could have did that night. Everything else was, you know, you can explain away, but that, I'm like, yeah, you let Anton get up under your skin to the point where you would even disclose something like that, which was very unnecessary, right? Now, my issue with Anton after the fact is, what's done is done. Y'all fell out. You probably gonna address it, do some commentary about it, you know, on your platform. But Anton has been running around the YouTube streets, interviewing with all and anybody about this situation. He's been talking about it nonstop. I mean, I would have rather him took clips on his platform. This is what I thought he was gonna do. You know, take clips from the interview and upload, you know, clips or shorts on his platform and let the people just kind of see what, you know, because it was a lot of good moments in that interview that, you know, people could have got some information from or learned something from, because I felt like Anton, you know, really played 4D chess with Corey Holcomb. You know, because one of the things that came out in one of the interviews is that Corey told Anton, when you come here, yeah, he let him know ahead of time, I'm gonna disagree with you. It's not gonna be a peaceful experience. It's gonna be very combative. It's gonna be an explosive interview. I'm here to disagree with you. You know, so he like, oh, so Anton already knew coming into this situation that he was going, you know, be on that type of time with him. So he was already on guard coming into the situation, which is cool. You know, we could have it. Now the part when it got disrespectful is when it went left. But coming in, Anton energy, people was criticizing that. His energy was a little condescending because that's what he was told to be expected. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, when you hit a backdrop that they had a conversation about that, it make all the sense in the world why he had that type of energy. Because I was feeling like that too. I didn't really speak on it, but I felt like he was a little combative. And then now that explains why. But Anton had, instead of opposed to just uploading content, he's just been going on these interviews with all these different people and everybody voicing their opinion. But for me, he been talking about it too much. And to Corey credit, I'm like, man, Corey ain't said nothing. Like up until last night, Corey Holcomb, I felt like probably was sitting back, you know, looking at everything from, because, you know, at a certain age, you're supposed to be able to look at a situation and move differently. And I'm thinking, wow, Anton out here running his mouth every 50 seconds about how, he had him shook and he was spooked and, he would have did this if he touched him and, just blowing smoke all over the YouTube streets. I'm like, man, this whole situation is crazy. But I'm looking at Corey's silence. To me, his silence was speaking louder than Anton's words. I'm like, oh yeah, when Corey do speak on this, I'm expecting him to come out and like really say something that the people could benefit from and make himself look 10 times bigger. That didn't happen. We're gonna get there. But also, like the young lady that was there with Anton, she's a content creator. She got her own platform called Red Cup with Mika. So, I'm wondering what she gonna have to say about the situation, because she was the one that got disrespected in the first place. Well, she didn't have nothing to do with whatever these two grown men had going on. So she came out and spoke on her platform briefly about it, maybe yesterday or the day before yesterday. She came out and she did a podcast and she really just kind of addressed it. And she did it very professional. I felt like, to me, just reading the room, because she didn't even say Anton's name. She was just like, first and foremost, she was told from Anton, first of all, that she was going to be on the 5150 show. So she said, like, man, Anton, she didn't say Anton's name at no point, which was odd. But she was like, I was told that I would be on the 5150 show. I flew out from wherever she was, and I think she said she had Washington, D.C. to L.A. to go to the show that day, and said she met Corey Holcomb before the show, and he shook her hand and introduced herself. She said she's always been a big fan of Corey Holcomb. She actually went to one of his stand-up shows not too long ago. So she was very excited to be there. And she's under the impression that she's going to be on the panel when the show is, get underway. But come to find out, when the show 5 minutes before the show gets started, she was alerted that she wasn't going to be able to be on the show, but she could sit in the studio, where it's going to be filmed at. You could tell she was disappointed, but she said, oh, wow, okay, I would have flew all the way out here. Now I'm just sitting in the studio, you know what I'm saying? But all right, whatever. And then she's sitting there, and then to hear, she was like very like disappointed to hear her getting, she said, y'all seen what happened with the fallout. And then next thing I know, she said she getting disrespected. And she like, I ain't got nothing to do with this. But she did say she's still a big fan of Corey Holcomb, and she forgives him. She handled it like professionally. What I took away from that is two things. First thing is, dang, you ain't even mentioned Anton. It's some type of friction or static there. And then, the second thing is the obvious, that she still was like trying to like pitch fly a kite for peace with Corey. Like, even though you called me out my name and all that, something I ain't had nothing to do with, it's still cool. I took it on the chin like a G. I know it didn't really have nothing to do with me. So basically, if you want to do work with me, I'm open to work with you. I ain't taking it personal. But I just want to see how this situation play out with Anton, because from my understanding, Red Cup with Mika, she kind of like up on the Anton wing, and she's like, he opened her up to an audience. You know what I'm saying? Like, she probably was already doing the thing, but Anton kind of added to that. So I don't know what their situation is. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to I don't even care if whatever they got going on. I'm under the impression that that's just somebody that he's trying to help their platform grow. They working together, and he tried to see an opportunity to get on 5150 to uh boost up her channel. Get her name buzzing a little bit more. And unfortunately, it didn't work out like that. Anton is saying that he was told that she could be on the show, otherwise he wouldn't have invited her. So who knows, right? You know what I'm saying? We're gonna see how that playing out. But like I said, even with that, Anton going on, he going on his platform, steady talking about it. You know what I'm saying? I think Anton did himself a disservice by continually to address it publicly and talking like he tough and what I'm saying, on half the interviews. I think he handled himself as well as possible at the actual interview. When it went left, he didn't back down. He didn't, but now that it happened, the thing is, yeah, man, hey, man, I ain't come there to fight. I came there to, speak on politics and talk about the culture and really, I'm not here to be a tough guy. It's unfortunate that what happened, but, I don't want to sit here and dwell on it, man. We're going to keep it pushing. If he'd have had that attitude, Anton to really be looking like, wouldn't too many people, they'd have had something to say. But if he'd have just kept it low and wouldn't have been out here yapping so much, Corey probably he probably would have had to respect that. But since Anton kept going out here every day, egging it on, of course you're going to talk your little smack to be expected. But as much as he's been talking about it, it just kind of take away from, his, how he handled things. It take away from that to me, because what happened. We don't dwell on it. We keep it pushing. But anyway, and this is just like bigger for the culture. You know what I'm saying? But in any event, like I said, all that took into consideration. I'm still thinking like, dang, Corey been quiet. He must, man, when he come out, he gonna come out like the man on top. But that was not the case. When Corey Holcomb I saw this show last night, man, it was terrible. Like, he has went so low where he came out talking about Anton, which is cool. Keep it on Anton. Call the man ugly, whatever. Once again, he's still a comedian. So, I'm expecting you to get your roast on. But the man sat up there and talked about, first he talked about the girl Mika. Call her all type of, he's like, oh yeah. And then first he talked about Anton, then he talked about Anton's daughter. He like, yeah, you got a ugly daughter, you ugly, so you make ugly kids. Yeah, I'm like, and put up a picture of this man's daughter. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Anton Daniels' daughter is still a minor. Now, it don't matter if the picture is, in the public, social media, what have you, but you a grown man, almost 60 years old, sitting up here talking about a 16 or 17-year-old girl, calling her ugly, talking about she look like a man, because you mad at this dude? See, you the same Negro that was questioning him about the black men and what the white man did, and then you go on here and you disparage a young lady and call her a young black lady and say she look like a man. A young lady, 16 years old. I believe Anton Daniels' daughter is. She's not 18 years old. But even if she was, wait, and this is what I'm saying with some of our people and how we get down. Y'all blow all this smoke, but women and children are supposed to be off limits. It's like we waited all this time for you to react. Okay. We waited all this time for you to react, and this is what you come with? You disrespecting a young lady that's under the age of 18 because you mad at Anton Daniels. You gonna disrespect. Then he went to his wife, played some footage of his wife, talked about her wig, like two ugly people made this ugly child. I mean, it was despicable. Like, yeah, you know, you come on my team, and like, I understand you a comedian, bro, but this is done in bad taste. You calling black women out their name, disrespecting them, you know, disparaging them on a platform with I think he had maybe 20,000 viewers live. 20,000 people laughing at black women on your page while you was just sitting up here talking about what the white men do. What if this young lady, you know, is to see her and her mother being disparaged like this? I mean, she got to be in high school. Corey Holcomb, you a very popular dude, especially even amongst the youth. Everybody know Corey Holcomb. So you on here disparaging two black women, a mother and a daughter, because you mad because Anton Daniels came on your platform and got the best of the debate. That you would sink this low. Then you got to talking about the red cup with Mika lady. Talk about, so, oh, and I saw that B that he was with had something to say on her platform. Yeah, since you got something to say. What all she said was she ain't had no, you talking tough to her. Well, all she said was she didn't have no smoke with you when she was, you know, basically trying to extend the olive branch, like I ain't had nothing to do with that. And you basically tell her, yeah, you can, you know, if you want to come to the studio, yeah, you can yeah, you can get it how you live, but you gonna have to do something. It was like you insinuating that if she gonna work with you, she gonna have to do like something sexual. I mean, what kind of sucker-ish is you on, man? Like, and for people I know, Corey Holcomb fans, I'm a fan of his work. But come on, man, we got to call a spade and hold people accountable. We can't have, you know, 60-year-old black men out here disrespecting black women, but at the same time talking about they for black power and all this other. Like, you were a hypocrite, bro. You done disrespected 3 generations of black women in one episode. If they ugly, then they got to be, you know, subjected to some type of sexual favors. Huh? Is this what we doing? This is your response. Embarrassing. When y'all might as well have caught the fade. You might as well, Anton Daniels he might as well have told you suck your D to your face, or you might as well have went outside and caught the fade. For y'all to be going back and forth, y'all over in both of y'all. But Corey Holcomb, you took it to a whole nother low, disrespecting these black women. In your response, you should have kept it. If you want to roast Anton. But you done disrespected these women, these black women, while you sat up here in the interview, what you got to say about the white man. I mean, dang. But anyway, let's see how this playing out. It's your boy Jay Taylor, Voices for the Voices. We love y'all. Until next time, we should see you soon. Peace and blessings.